What is up, guys? We are back, coming at you with another video. We are the Late Night Ballers. I'm Nick, here with Connor. We're going to be talking about actually something that came up earlier this week. So we found out through reports that Kyrie Irving has spoken with Cavs management, and he's actually told them that he wants to be traded. It came as a big surprise to the whole NBA community. Nobody really saw this coming. Kyrie Irving and LeBron James and the Cavaliers are a team that have been to 3 straight finals. They've made a lot of progress. They've been the dominant team in the East for quite some time now. So it really came as a surprise that Kyrie wanted to be traded from such a dominant team. We've heard reports that Kyrie isn't happy with the way that the team is actually set up. He believes that he is a number 1 option on it. Rumors have come out that he's actually never been comfortable being the number 2 guy behind LeBron James in this Cavaliers team. They've been saying, or he's been saying anyway, that he wants to be a number 1 guy on his own team. He wants to be the number 1 option because he believes he hasn't reached his full potential. This is surprising to me and many others. It did make a lot of sense just because Kyrie is such a talented offensive player. Connor, what did you make of this news?
It was surprising because whenever you see teams clicking like that Cavs team did, they didn't have enough to win the championship, but they were a good team together. You wouldn't think that any big pieces like Kyrie would just try and be on a different team. You think that they would try and get one more player and win a championship like the Warriors did whenever they lost to the Cavs that last year. You didn't see anybody wanting to leave. You saw them go in free agency and pick up Kevin Durant. So that really surprised me because I thought the Cavs were going to, this offseason, try and pick up another player instead of all these rumors coming around that one of their best players is going to leave for another team and try and take over that team. There are reports that said that he didn't want to be LeBron's sidekick. He didn't want to be his son, which people are saying that LeBron was pretty much the dad of the whole entire team and Kyrie was just one of the kids there. Kyrie wants to be known as the alpha male. He doesn't want to be just one of the guys on the team that is pretty much under another guy. He wants to be that number 1 scoring option. He wants to be the superstar of the team. But another report was saying that he didn't want LeBron to bail on him. So he's kind of wanting to leave first and get his own team so he wouldn't be left with Kevin Love and some other role players after LeBron leaves, and no one wants to go to Cleveland in free agency with him. So those are some of the reasons that have came out in stories about why Kyrie may want to be leaving Cleveland. Earlier we said that there are reports that he never did like it in Cleveland, that he was always kind of uncomfortable where he was. So Nick, what are some teams that you think can make some moves and try and grab Kyrie Irving from the Cavs?
Well, obviously we've heard of a few teams, one being the Spurs, others like the Timberwolves, the Heat, the Knicks, and the Suns. Some of those I don't see happening, particularly the Timberwolves. I know that Kyrie and Jimmy Butler have come out and said that they want to play with each other. However, I don't see that happening. I don't see the Timberwolves trading for anything because they really don't need Kyrie. As much as Kyrie would be a boost to that team, they already have Jeff T, they have Andrew Wiggins, they have Karl Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler now, as I said, pretty good role players like Jamal Crawford and Taj Gibson. I don't think they'd be wanting to give any of that up. It seems like they have everything they need. The Heat, I've seen reports that they haven't even made an offer for Kyrie yet. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't think they have enough trade pieces. I don't think Hassan Whiteside, if they were willing to give him up, would be enough. Same with the Spurs. I don't see the Spurs giving up anything too big to get Kyrie because it would take a lot to get a player of that caliber. The two that make sense the most to me are the Knicks and the Suns. The Suns, obviously, because they have guys like Eric Bledsoe, people that have really good relationships with LeBron James. They have a bunch of young talent, particularly Josh Jackson, who we've seen in some trade rumors and like popping up around social media and stuff like that. I could definitely see him and Bledsoe being moved in like a package deal maybe. But my personal favorite, where I would love to see Kyrie land the most, would definitely be the Knicks. It makes a lot of sense. One being the Knicks have a lot they want to get rid of, particularly Melo. They could always get rid of young talent like Frank Ntilikina and Guillermo Hernangomez. Some other pieces, maybe like some draft picks, Courtney Lee, or some other options that maybe they can move for a trade. It also makes sense because Kyrie Irving is a New Jersey kid. He's from New York, and we've heard reports that he really wants to end up in the Knicks. So to me, this one one makes the most sense. It just depends on whether or not the Cavs believe that a deal for maybe something like Melo, Ntilikina, and Hernan Gomez will be enough for Kyrie. Will that satisfy the Cavs? I don't know if it will, but I really hope it will. I really hope that the Cavs think that is a good deal, because a two-player team like Kyrie and Kristaps, I would love to see those two play together. Kyrie Irving and Kristaps Porzingis, I think personally would be a fantastic duo in New York. I think that's something that the NBA needs. They need a good team in New York. It's always good when these big markets flourish, I think. I would love to see Kyrie with the Knicks.
Another thing, one team that Kyrie Irving said he wants to go to is the Spurs. But the Spurs don't really have that much to give the Cavs in exchange for Kyrie Irving. Do you think the general manager and the front office of the Cavs have enough respect for Kyrie Irving to let him go where he wants and maybe take a little bit off of his trade value just to make sure he's happy going somewhere? Do you think that the Cavs are just going to completely get rid of how Kyrie, what he wants, and get what they can out of him?
Personally, I think if the offer is good enough, you shouldn't turn it down just because it's just because you want to hurt Kyrie in a way, hurt his career in a way, just because you want to keep him and hold on for some reason. I don't really know why they would want to do that, but I personally think if the deal is right, you make it. I think that if the Knicks offer something like what I mentioned earlier, they should take it. I'm not a Cavs GM, so I don't know if that's a good deal or not. I think if the deal is right, the Cavs will make it all. The Cavs will take a certain deal. That just depends on what people are willing to offer, what teams are willing to offer.
Yeah, I saw a whole bunch of things on Twitter about Kyrie would look great on the Spurs. He would be such a great player to go with Kawhi Leonard. He's not a free agent just signing wherever. He's trying to get traded.
Yeah, he has no say over where he can go.
Which means that the Spurs would have to give them something, and they lost a whole bunch of young players. They lost Jonathan Simmons in free agency this year, and they're definitely not giving up Kawhi Leonard. LaMarcus Aldridge is getting old. Manu Ginobili is already 40. Tony Parker blew out his knee last year. They don't really have any pieces they could trade for Kyrie.
I don't think the Cavs would take LaMarcus Aldridge or Rudy Gay if they wanted to move him. I just don't see the Spurs working out in this situation. We heard reports the Spurs were at the top on his list, but to me that just doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't see like I said, the deal has to make a lot of sense for the Cavs and feel like they're getting something out of it, the most out of it they can, and I don't think the Spurs can offer the most.
And another thing is the whole entire system with Popovich. Kyrie is a very flashy player. We know this. He is one of the flashiest players in the league, but would he fit in with the system that they have there, where it's strictly ball movement and it's not one player team? It's you play defense and you move the ball on offense, and that's how you win games. So that's another thing, is would Kyrie fit in the system if he were to somehow be able to go to the Spurs via trade?
I don't see that working, really. Kyrie Irving is personally my favorite player in the league, but he's not that great of a defender, and I don't see him moving the ball in a Spurs offense like that, like you were saying. He's a very ball-dominant player. Those were some of the problems with that ball dominance, not giving it to LeBron, problems that we saw in the finals against the Golden State Warriors. People said, hey, Kyrie needs to stop banging the ball on the floor so much, stop trying to play ISO ball all the time, and maybe move the ball a little bit around. I even said that as a critique from Kyrie. I thought there were times where he didn't move the ball enough. He tried to play too much ISO ball, and it didn't work out against the Warriors. I noticed throughout social media and all this stuff that people were giving Kyrie a lot of crap for not wanting to be a part of this thing he has going on with LeBron right now, being a part of the greatness that they've sustained with the Cavs. For me personally, if you take a step back and look at it in its entirety, this actually makes a lot of sense for Kyrie in his career as an individual. He personally thinks that he is a better player than he is right now, than he can be. Being in the Cavs, he's not living up to the potential he thinks he has. I've heard reports that he and Kobe Bryant share a very similar mentality. They are both killers with a killer instinct, and they're very good friends, and they share a similar mentality where they feel that they're the best player on the court at all times. You can see that in Kyrie's game. You can see that in Kobe's game. I think Kyrie wants to be a type of Kobe player. I think Kyrie believes that he is an all-time great, just like Kobe, and I think he wants to have his own team to prove that he is that, and he can take teams to the finals. I think this move makes a lot of sense for Kyrie Irving in his career. If he stays with the Cavs any longer, then he runs the risk of LeBron potentially leaving him by himself with an aging Kevin Love in a city with no free agent attraction. We've seen that through this year by not being able to get Paul George and Gordon Hayward, or really any other players. I know Paul George was through a trade and all that, but free agents just haven't seemed to end up in Cleveland. I mean, players like Jamal Crawford have left For the Timberwolves, we've seen a lot of other players throughout the free agency pass on the Cavs and go to other options. The Cavs also have a very dysfunctional front office. I think Kyrie sees all of these things and realizes that he needs to get out before it's too late. I think Kyrie's making a good decision, and I can see it working out for him in the future if he is able to get out of the Cavs before it's too late. All right, well, I think that about wraps up everything we have to talk about with the Kyrie news. Let us know if you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a comment. Where do you think Kyrie will end up in the future? Will he stay with the Cavs? Will he move on? We'd love to hear what you have to think about it. So, like I said, let us know. Drop a like, drop a comment, share it with everybody you know. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.